Hi guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be learning about the time dimensions. There are three different time dimensions that you need to know in your AS course. And that is the short run, the long run, and the very long run. Now, the thing is that economists recognize time as a crucial dimension in analyzing production decisions, costs, and different sort of decision makings. So, firms or let's say industries and even economies, they cannot just adjust all resources instantaneously, right? So how quickly or how fast could they adapt, and how the ability to change the inputs by the firms and the industries and the economies depend on the time horizon under consideration. And that is exactly why economists distinguish between short run, the long run, and the very long run. As far as the short run is concerned, it's a time period where your factors of production are fixed except for labor. So usually labor can be, it's a variable factor. It can be varied, which means it could be increased or decreased, right? But your capital, that is factory machines and equipment, is considered fixed, right? But labor is the most common variable factor or variable input in the short run. So the only thing that firms could do is, in order to expand, is maybe just adjust variable factors like hire more workers or maybe buy some more raw material. But output can increase, but only within the constraints of the existing fixed resources. So let's say that a bakery has one oven, when that one oven that the bakery has is fixed capital. So um, so this is the fixed capital. So in the short run, if you're talking about the short run, guys, then in the short run, what it can do is that it can hire more workers. Let's say it can hire more bakers, and it could buy more flour to increase the production. But the single oven it has, it limits how much ultimately can be produced. So in the short run, they're limited. The production is limited by the fixed capital, or the fixed machinery and the equipment and the fixed factors of production that you have, right? And but let's say if we talk about the long run is a time period when all the factors of production are variable. So like all the factors of production, the land, labor, capital, enterprise, everything is variable. So firms here are not constrained by fixed inputs, and they can adjust their scale, the entire scale of production, more fully, because all the land, labor, capital, enterprise can be varied. In fact, in the long run, it said that firms could even take bigger decisions like entering or exiting the industry, right? And decisions to involve investment in new capital, like getting a new factory, new factory, new equipment. So, for example, if you take the bakery example, the bakery builds a new factory with, let's say, multiple ovens, and gets an automated machinery. And what this would do is that this would increase the capacity, and it would in fact improve the productivity as well, because you're getting in more better capital. So here the fixed constraints no longer apply, right? And firms could, and that's why we say that in the long run, this would basically, you're actually, the firm is able to improve not only the quantity of its capital but the quality as well, by building, let's say, a new factory to increase output. So what we're saying is that this will usually allow the firms to be more efficient, since it has now the time to assess the best possible ways to achieve its objectives, right? And if we talk about the very long run is a time period where not only are all the factors of production are fixed, where not only all the factors of production are variable, which means that not only can all the inputs change, that is, all the factors of production can change, but that could also change in the long run. So how does the very long run differentiates here? But the external environment also changes, that is, things outside the firm that we're talking about here, things such as technology, government regulations, and social attitudes and social concerns. And what we're trying to say over here is that in the very long run, it's a time period where not only all the factors of production are variable, but they're the things such as the underlying external conditions that could possibly influence production can change as well. Now, underlying external conditions that could influence the production of the firms could change. So, for example, technology influences firms' production. So that could change if it changes. Government policies, maybe the government imposes different policies like taxes, subsidies, or price controls on firms, or different type of environmental policies, or what you can do or should do or not do. that could change, which can have an impact on firms' production. So institution and social factors could change as well. So we are talking about structural shifts occurring in an economy, and these structural shifts occur in the very long run. So innovation and invention can take place, right? And that could drastically alter the production possibilities of a firm. In fact, it could drastically alter the production costs of the firm as well, drastically bringing down costs for the firms, right? For example, the introduction of AI changes the production costs in services and manufacturing both, and that could happen in the very long run. For instance, the government could come up with government regulations on, let's say, how much carbon emissions could firms release, right? Or so even social preferences could change. For example, now we see that there's demand for more organic food, let's say, and that would shift the firm's entire focus on from non-organic food to more organic food. So this is a structural change. It would change the entire production patterns of the firms. So this is all very long run that we're talking about, right? So um so what we're saying, what exactly we're trying to say is that, other example that I could give is that like in the long run, we could only say that firms change their scale of production, like they build new factories, buy new machines, they enter the industries or exit the industries. That's the long run that we're talking about, like restaurants expanding by opening another branch or installing a bigger kitchen. But the very long run, is not just about all the inputs changing or the fact that all the factors of production are variable. It's also talking about the external environment, that things outside the firm, for example, technology, government rules, social preferences, they can change, which could all of this could bring about different structural shifts across the industries in the economy. So the very long run is about a period of innovation and progress. Let's say, for example, a basic example that you can give, which you could connect, is like, you see all these online food delivery apps, like let's say Food Panda in Pakistan and Zomato in India. I mean, they've changed how restaurants operate. And plus, there's more. We see that there's more social demand for healthier food, and that social demand for healthier food pushes restaurants to change their entire menus. So that's a structural shift, right? That's what happens in the long run. That is basically the very the sorry that's what happens in the very long run. That is the very long run that we're talking about. So we're talking when it's a very long run. We're not just talking about the inputs being variable, but the technology changing, the laws changing, the government regulations changing, social habits changing, social preferences changing. That is resulting into structural shifts across the industry and the economies, right, guys? So that's all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, take care.